see if you find there to be at least an ounce of irony in the following statement that was made by Henry Cejudo. Triple C came out, he was talking about Israel Adesanya, and he said the UFC should stop pushing him. There's not an ounce of excitement anywhere in there. Stop everything. Well, the whole thing's thrown me off. Henry Cejudo does know a thing or two about a push. And he knows a thing or two about how to go out there and get to push. However, just the premise on itself makes it sound as though the UFC is elevating and rising Adesanya. As though the master marketing machine of UFC has created this. They had somebody they were going to get behind. That's what the push is called. They put that behind him and they pushed him to where he is now. That is something that you can do in any form of entertainment that is scripted. Vince McMahon will give the push. Now, there are built-in mechanisms within our sport. If you make it to a co-main event, there are built-in mechanisms. Purely from a PR and marketing standpoint, there is exposure and opportunities that you will be given. If you do a good job with those opportunities, you can stay in the co-main event. Once you make it to the main event, there is built-in, doesn't matter who it is. Jane Doe, Steve, Bob, doesn't matter. Whoever gets there, if they make it to the main event, there will be some built-in paradigm in terms of the radio you would do, the TV you would do, the potential commercials you would do, the sponsors you'll be introduced to, the posters you'll be put on, the billboards that are going to show your face. The countdown show, whether you get 4 minutes or you get 7.5 minutes, is directly related to whether you're the co-main event or are you the main event. If you go into a championship fight, there's yet again a formula. It's a bucket. You're going to fall straight into it. You get all the good stuff that comes with it. If you do a great job with all of that stuff, you will stay in the main event. The fans will choose if they get behind you. And I bring that to you because the term push is very manufactured by somebody who's identified by somebody else who has the power of the pen. Israel Adesanya has not been pushed. No, he has not, guys. Israel Adesanya got here the same way a lot of guys did. On a Wednesday night at the Apex Center, fighting on something called Dana White's Contender Series. Got into the UFC the same way lots of guys did. Squeaking out a split decision, finding out where some of his weaknesses were and where his strengths need to be improved. Israel works his way up the card. Before you know it, he's at Madison Square Garden, but he's the third one from the end. He's not the one everybody came to see. But on the way in, he did something interesting. During the fight, it was something dynamic. On his way out the door, he's going to leave you something to remember him. Now, if somebody had handed him those, had sat down with him, had taught him, had shown him, hey, here's what we're going to do, I could say he got a push, but he did not. Israel Adesanya got an opportunity, and then he took it. The only thing Dana White can give you, asking Dana White, can I have money? Can I have a big match? How about this? How about you ask Dana White for an opportunity? He has a platform. He has access to beautiful cameras and beautiful lights on beautiful networks that lots of people watch. If he gives you all of those ingredients, can you make something of it? Your answer had better be yes. And if your answer is no, just keep thinking. We don't need to throw you aside. We're not telling you this business isn't for you, but keep thinking. Nothing will be better than that play. You get to hear your favorite song playing over this beautiful hundreds of thousands of dollars speaker. You're going to see your mom and your fans jumping up. Somebody's maybe wearing a t-shirt that they made for you. Maybe they snuck a sign in. The thing that you're being given is the platform to be seen and to be heard. What you do with it creates your own push. I mean, I'll concede this to Henry right now. Henry, if Henry had the magic wand, the magic power of MMA to take away somebody's push, take Izzy's push away. When we wake up tomorrow, there will be nothing different. Adesanya's already got 2-3 interviews lined up for tomorrow, same as he did today, same as he did yesterday. He's already got a tweet and Instagram somewhere planned, and he'll release those tomorrow. He's already thinking about his next opponent. Even though he's traveling home, he's going to get a couple recovery days in. He's going to be sitting down watching some tapes. Everything is going to be the same in his life. And somebody will present him with an opportunity. Guaranteed. How can I guarantee it? Because it already happened. I couldn't guarantee it the first time. I could never guarantee that he's going to get an opportunity on a main card at Madison Square Garden. I could never guarantee that after these big matches, he's going to get a microphone. I could never guarantee that he's going to dance or he's going to undertake or he's going to do something special on his way to the ring to entertain you. None of that's a guarantee until he did it the first time. Now we see we can trust a guy. Now we see all this expense that we went to create an opportunity is going to be seized by a certain person, happens to be Israel Adesanya. And that's when you've got an exciting moment. And that's when you got a guy that you can do business with. And that's when you got a guy that you really understand. Now, I don't know that Henry Cejudo is being serious. I find myself saying Henry Cejudo's name more time in this last week because I think Henry's so good at trolling that he's even getting me. I don't think Henry thinks that Adesanya should be pulled back. I don't think he thinks that Adesanya isn't the massive star that he is. I don't think Henry thinks that fight has to end in a finish. I mean, what kind of people are we, by the way? What kind of people are we? The very first time, I remember where I was. And I'm not prude, guys, but the first time I heard the words as it pertained to the sport that I was in, finish him, I felt very uncomfortable. Truly. I felt something in my stomach. The only time I'd ever heard finish him was in movies, and it always had to do with the sword. It was the last minute, and this guy can't defend himself, and all you got to do is walk away, and he's going to be laying there in a puddle of dirt anyway. But no, they say finish him. You got to chop the guy's head off, and he dies. That's what I associated finish him with. I did not like it. Now, I've warmed to it. I think I've gotten used to it. I think I've become callous to it. But is that really what you want to see? I mean, truthfully. And is that what you want to be on record saying? That you want to go watch these two wonderful athletes that have worked their ass off and you sure admire it. And they've got an incredibly dangerous skill set. But you want to see one of them, regardless of any personal information, you want to see them unconscious. You don't want to see them lose. You want to see them injured. Is that really who you are as a person? And if the answer is, do you want to be that person? Do you think if you went in front of your classrooms and you told everybody, here's who I am, I love to see a guy get finished, do you think that your coworkers are likely to invite you to the softball game on Saturday? Do you think your classmates are likely to ask you to sit with them at lunch? You're going to sound like a weird guy. So what? Adesanya didn't go out there and finish. So what? Adesanya dominated a guy who was trying to hurt him, who was the number one contender and won all 5 rounds. Are we not going to discuss that? Like, there's just no part in this where we break that down? Do we ever get into the real elephant in the room? The real fact that some of those 25-minute contests are boring. Are we ever going to discuss that? Because they're too goddamn long. This is the most ridiculous idea we've ever had in MMA, to go 5-minute rounds. And by the way, that was such an arbitrary number. When somebody went into a room and came up with that and came out and informed the world, do you know of all the rules that we go back and we reflect on and we change and we innovate and we tweak? We never touched that one. Like, just using good, solid logic. No science. Throw science out. Just good, solid logic. What are the chances? What is the probability that the amount of rounds that we should be contesting is the exact amount of rounds that we guessed arbitrarily on the first day that we tried?